full moon in Sidereal Pisces, a time for endings and a time for new beginnings. Stay tuned because in this video, we are talking about the full moon in Pisces in Sidereal Astrology for October 2022. Hey, my friend, Danny Seawees here, your spiritual counselor, helping you find clarity on your spiritual journey. One of my favorite things to do is to help people remember who they are, why they came here, and really what their mission is, so that they can learn that through the lens of astrology, which is my favorite thing to use, so that we can strip away all the generational paradigms, societal paradigms, the belief systems that no longer serve us, who we truly are, and that have gotten us off our path, so that we can design a life that truly honors who we are. If you are new here, I'm so glad that you are here and that you have found us. Be sure to hit that subscribe button and that bell because we have weekly astrology videos going out. Now, one of the things that I have to say, I have been working with astrology for over 9 years, and I've been in the coaching industry for over 20 years. And I absolutely am so blessed and so honored I get to work full time with my clients and my students doing the great work. And it is just such a privilege for me. And I'm so excited to be here with you today. So let's dive in to this full moon, because here's the thing, my friend. Every single full moon has its own unique energy. So number one, it is in a zodiac sign. It is in a particular zodiac sign. And so it has some energy around that zodiac sign. And then number two, it has influences based on where it is in our sky, which I'm going to go ahead and share my screen right now so you can take a look at what we are talking about, and let's dive into this. So this full moon in Pisces is on Sunday, October 9th at 3:55 p.m. Central. So that would be 1:55 for you, my friends, in the Pacific time zone, and 4:55 for you in the Eastern time zone. So let's look at this for a second. Number one, let's talk about this Pisces energy. Okay, so the moon, as we can see here, let's go ahead and find her. There she is. She is in the zodiac sign of Pisces at 22 degrees 22, which so magical. So let's talk about Pisces. Pisces is the last zodiac sign in all the zodiac signs. So we'll begin with Aries and we end with Pisces. Pisces rules our 12th house here in a natal chart. So this would be this house right here, the 12th house, which is the house of endings and new beginnings. Slightly different than our Scorpio energy, which is death and transformation. Pisces is about coming to an end with something. It's our transition into the new. Pisces is one of the most, if not the most spiritual sign in the zodiac. It is all about transcending, right, this 3D reality into the ethers, right, into the divine, into the other energy that we all seek so much. Pisces is such a beautiful water sign. It's the two fish. Now, the interesting thing with Pisces is that it is actually, like, if we look at the two fish, they actually are going in opposite directions. So there is this energy with us going into opposite directions with Pisces. It wants to be here in this 3D reality, but it also wants to transcend. And so Pisces energy tends to struggle with being in the present. It very much loves to live in the imagination, in the dream world, and which is so beautiful because we need that aspect of ourselves. We need that imagination and that dream world for us to be able to come up with the visions and the ideas and the manifestations that we want here in our 3D world. So if we're looking at this Pisces energy and we're talking about how I want you to think about for a second, what is your relationship with the dream world? What is your relationship with imagination? Where do you have the belief system that you don't have time to imagine, you don't have time to dream, or it's not, it's pointless to do that, right? That's a waste of time. Or do you have a belief that it is magical and it is needed? I can say as an entrepreneur, I've been in business for quite a while now. And one of the things that I have learned is that I need visionary days. As the CEO of my company, as the business owner, as the leader of the direction that my business goes in, I have to have days where I am visioning, right? What I want from my business, what I want, how I want it to be created, and how I want it to grow. And I also have to take visionary days for myself. Visionary days for myself to just explore what I want and where I'm going and what I want to do, as well as having visionary days and times with my love. Both of us come together. We generally tend to do it around our birthdays at least, where we come together and we make sure that our visions are on track, that they're the same, and that we have the same ideas and goals of where we want to go as a couple, right? For our relationship. And so this energy, right? We want to make sure we're honoring that energy because it is one of the steps in manifestation. So let's look at the opposite, which is where our sun is. Because remember, a full moon is when the moon and the sun are on direct opposite sides of the sky. So with our new moon, they're together, but in a full moon, they're on opposite sides. So we look at our sun, right? Earlier this month, our moon was also in Virgo, which was our new moon. Now the moon has moved around and it came over here to Pisces. And this is where we create the opposition. So there's an axis here of Pisces energy and Virgo energy, where our subconscious is in the endings, right? Is in the endings of things, where our consciousness is the systems and structures. The systems and structures in our life, our day-to-day routines, our health. And so you may be feeling, and what what this full moon is calling us to do is to break up, right, with the things, with the routines, with the habits, with um, the way that we're going about our health, to break up with that because of the vision that we have of where we want to go. So you may have created a vision, right, with this new moon back a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about the new moon energy. You may have created a powerful intention around that new moon energy, around your daily routine, around the habits that you have in your life. And now here we are 2 weeks later, checking in with that and saying, have we learned something? Have we tried to put some things into place? And now we are ready to end those things, say goodbye to them, release it, because that is definitely part of the full moon energy, is releasing that which no longer serves us and inviting in the new. So if you did set a powerful intention, or even if you didn't, I want you to think about, what are you ready to end? What is ready to be resolved as it relates to these ideas in your life, your daily routine, how you're showing up, your habits, all right? And how you are of service to others. Because for some of us, we are in so much service to others that we forget about ourselves, and that we're the last person on that list, right? And one of my students and friends and team members, she mentioned the other day that Santa Claus is Virgo energy, right? Making the list and checking it twice. And so we want to think about this energy that we're in and what aspect of that is not serving us, right? So let's look at a couple of other things, because that is the general idea of this full moon in Pisces. But that is not the only thing that is happening here in our sky right now. So let's take a look a little bit closer. So I first want to talk about what is hanging out with our moon. So right now we have this guy right here who is called Chiron. Now, Chiron isn't a planet. It is an asteroid. So if we look at Chiron, Chiron is what's called conjunct the moon. And it's only 3 degrees. So it's in Pisces at 3 degrees difference from our moon. So when the moon is conjunct Chiron, which Chiron happens to be our deepest wounds. These are our deepest wounds. So these are the wounds that we may have experienced as a child. These may be wounds from other lifetimes that we are holding on to. And it is really important for us to do the work around these wounds, because whether we know it or not, just like the apps that are running in the background on our phones, that is what is happening with our traumas. That is what's happening with our wounds, right? If you think about a wound that you get like on your hand or your arm or your leg or some part of your body, if you just leave it open, right, it's exposed to all the elements around it. You're taking a shower and water gets in there, soap gets in there, and it can cause some things. Or maybe you're getting dirt or debris in there and it's causing it to get infected. And you're here, carrying this wound. And so we want to look at these wounds, do the work around these wounds so that we can release them. And so this particular conjunction here, you might find that you're a little bit extra sensitive about your emotions, or you might be a little bit extra sensitive about things and get triggered by things, right? There's a bit of a vulnerability here with our wounds, and it's like they're being exposed right now. They're exposed, and because they're exposed, we're a little tender, right? Like think about the wound that you get on your hand or your leg, right? It's tender around that area until it starts to heal. And so this could be extra sensitive right now. So I just want you to keep that in mind. But this is also a really beautiful time that we can look at those wounds. We can look at those shadow aspects of ourselves. If you were in the kickoff of the Shadow Work Tarot series that we started this month, October 2022, we talked about a lot of different things, but in particular, self-acceptance, right? Self-awareness, not acceptance. So I keep wanting to say self-acceptance because I've been working with the oil bergamot, and it's like the oil of self-acceptance. So when we look at this, right, it is easier for us to look at these things right now because self-awareness is actually the internal conflict that we have within ourselves that we get to decide. Now, it's really beautiful because this energy is really helping us be able to own, to accept, to acknowledge those aspects of ourselves. So this energy with Chiron is really, really beautiful for looking at maybe some of those deeper wounds that we have around these ideas with imagination, dreaming, our systems, our habits, our health. All right, so the other thing I want to talk about here is Chiron is in opposition to the moon, because if it's conjunct, right, our moon here, that means it's got to be in opposition also to our sun. So when Chiron is in opposition to the sun, this is again the energy of uncovering these fears and these wounds that we have. Now, in particular with the sun, we're talking about ego. We're talking about the wounds with our ego. This is a really beautiful time. Like I would do this tonight in the next 24 to 48 hours of this full moon on October 9th, to do some ego work, to work with your ego, to connect with your ego and see what's going on with them. See where they're at, see what they have to share, how they're coming to you, how they're expressing themselves to you. There's a lot of information in there. We don't ever want to ban the ego or shun the ego or get rid of the ego. There is no death to the ego. There is love and acceptance of ego. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is the sun conjunct the Venus energy. This is Venus here. So when the sun is conjunct Venus, there is a lot of emphasis here on love and relationships, money, our values. And so there's a lot of conscious energy around this beautiful energy that Venus has. And so this is also bringing into play with this opposition to the moon is this: there's an increase for love and affection. There's an increase of wanting to connect with your partners. This could also be some moodiness in our relationships, because if there has been some simmering problems maybe that we haven't looked at in our relationships, these could be coming up for us, right? Remember, we're talking about, you know, these wounds that are coming up, and I don't mean they have to be your deepest and darkest wounds. Now sometimes they are, but they don't have to be. It could be something that happened to you. I have an experience, you know, that happened to me, and I've done work around it many times, where I have such a, it's really entertaining more to me now than it is hurtful to me. And it was a simple thing. It was, I got made fun of on the middle school bus. I think I was probably seventh grade, and my grandmother, who I love and who is my biggest supporter here on earth, and is my biggest supporter after her passing, along with my grandfather. And you know, she had given me these boots, and you know, I loved, my grandma would always give me things, and I loved what she gave me, and I wore them because I loved them. And they weren't necessarily in style. They were like totally not, you know, in style, but I loved them, and I loved that my grandmother had given them to me. And so I wore them to school, and I was sitting on the edge of the seat on the bus, and there were these girls in the back of the bus that were like laughing and pointing at my shoes and making fun of me. And I remember from that day forward, I never wanted to wear those boots again. I never wanted to wear those boots because I was so like hurt, right? Like they were making fun of me, and these were like quote unquote popular girls. So I felt so like I didn't fit in. I already felt like I didn't fit in, and I was just trying to be accepted. And so it just so much was going on for me at that time. And so I've done a lot of work with that aspect of me, that time of my life. But it's funny, it's really funny to me now that like, wow, like yeah, that's all you guys like, really, you're gonna make fun of my shoes. It's just funny, kind of funny to me now. But things like that, it wasn't super traumatic. It's like, you know, did it hurt me? Did it affect me? Absolutely. And it affected me pretty deeply, because I still to this day can remember that situation, and it's affected other things in my life. I say this to say it doesn't have to be like, all they did was laugh. Like there wasn't like a big old scene after, like they didn't torment me after, you know, in other situations. It was a one simple small incident where they laughed at my shoes and they made fun of me, that it affected me. And so I want you to know that it doesn't have to be like a big, huge thing. It can be super small. It could be something you heard and that affected you, right? So there's many things. So when we talk about doing the work, it doesn't necessarily have to be these deeper, darker wounds. It can be, but it also can be these smaller things that have made an impact on you. Okay, so I got a little bit off track there. Let me come back. So let's talk about this. So again, with this Venus energy, got to get back to my notes because I'm going to go off script here. You know, we talk about this energy with Venus, and so these emotions can be coming forward. I would also say be careful, because we could substitute food and other substances to get the needs that we are feeling with this energy, because there's a lot of emotional energy right here. So we want to be really mindful of that as well. All right, so that is our energy that we're seeing here with our moon, is these beautiful conjunctions with Venus and the sun, and with Chiron and the moon, and then their subsequent oppositions. Now, I really want to say that this full moon is about coming to the endings of things for sure that are not serving you, but I want you to think about the bigger themes, the bigger ideas in your life. What do we need to let go of? What is it time to come to an end with? And maybe it's just simply a decision that you choose to now make, that moving forward, this is what I'm doing. This is how I am. I can tell you, I, you know, have gotten used to doing one video a week, and I told myself I'm going to do 2 videos moving forward. I made that intention at the new moon, and here we are at the full moon, and I just started to do them, that I was even hesitant to do this one for you. That's why it's coming out so late in the day, is I was so hesitant to do this one. And I was like, no, I'm not going to do it. You know, I'm not going to do the video. And then I was, you know, thinking about it, and I was like, wait a minute, Danny, you need to do this video because you are no longer staying in that loop. You are no longer doing that habit. You are pushing forward and getting the information out to those that want to hear it. So here we are, my friend, this full moon in Pisces. Take a look at those endings. Take a look at what you're ready to start fresh, what you're ready to begin anew. You know, every day is a new day of opportunity to start. And so let's go ahead and take this moment to start with this full moon. So release those paradigms, release those belief systems that are not serving you, right? That are not part of who you are choosing to now be. Endings take the wisdom of the past and put the learnings into action. All right, my friend, we have a special, I've been working on this. I've been talking about this for the past couple of videos now. I will say that I have, it's coming really soon. I can't wait to share it with you, but it is going to be our Sidereal Astrologer Beginner's Guide. So if you're catching this in the future, check down below. You may already be able to get access to it, but it is coming soon. I'm hoping to get it out this next week, if not the next one. We'll see. I'll keep you posted. Make sure you are tuned into this channel, you are subscribed, and have that bell turned on so you know when it comes out, you can get your hands on that. There'll be some pretty cool information in there, as well as everything you're going to need to know about the basics of astrology, as well as some essential oils that are best to work with for your sign. So if you are into essential oils and you want to start working with them in this way, then my friend, you're definitely going to want to get this guide. All right, my friend, that is it for us. Remember, as always, to close your eyes and to take a deep breath. And find peace.